Right, good evening everybody and welcome to this meeting of the Letchworth Committee on the 21st of September 2020. I'd like to welcome members, officers and members of the public to this meeting of the committee. Before the meeting starts, I'd like to invite the committee member and scrutiny officer to explain how proceedings will work.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, everyone. If you wish to speak during a debate, please use the speak button on your microphone unit and wait for the Chair's permission. Where a vote is required, voting will take place using the yes, no, abstain buttons on your microphone units. The results of the vote will be visible in the room and on the YouTube stream and will be announced for the recording. Are there any questions before we start the meeting? No, back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Louis. Apologies for absence. I've received apologies from councillors Terry Hone and Adam Ruggiero-Shaka. Any other apologies? I'm staring at you, Morgan. I apologise.
The mic. Oh, there we go. Just had a message from Simon Bloxham. He's going to be about 5 minutes late.
We'll look forward to seeing Simon in a minute. Minutes for approval, the 8th of June 2022. I would like to propose that we take as read and approve as a true record the minutes of the meeting of the committee held on the 8th of June. Can I have a seconder, please? Yep, Sean, happy to second. Thank you. Okay. May we go to the vote, please?
Chair, that's carried.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Didn't get a flash up on the
We'll just sort out a little technical issue. Are you happy to accept the vote?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay. Notification of any other business? There is none. In accordance with council policy, this meeting will be audio and video recorded and streamed live via YouTube. The audio recording will be available via mod.gov and the video available on YouTube. Members are reminded to take declarations of interest before an item. The detailed reminder about this and speaking rights is set out under the chair's announcements on the agenda. Now, can I just double check? If we start this without Simon, is he still allowed to vote on it? No. Yep, we're okay. Cool, right. Okay, in that case, I'm going to start without him on this occasion. Public participation. First, we're going to hear from Nova Wellness CIC. Agatha is going to give us a verbal presentation. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Agata Kisika. I'm one of the directors of Nova Wellness Community Interest Company. I'm not normally the one who does presentations, so please forgive me. We've been given just 1 day notice to be here. We are a relatively new company founded just over a year ago. We provide group therapeutic sessions both in our centre in Stevenage as well as in the local community in Hertfordshire. We also provide individual therapies such as acupuncture, chiropractic and massage in our clinic. These are provided on paid-for basis, and any excess profits from these sessions are reinvested into our community outreach events. Our therapists and company directors often take part in various community sessions on a voluntary basis. We also now have a few volunteers too helping out with events. The group therapy sessions that we are applying to you to fund include guided meditation, community acupuncture, sand bowls, qigong, mindful movement exercises, and also various massage therapies. The sessions aim to improve the well-being of community members, especially those in need, who normally would not be able to afford such therapies, who suffer from anxiety, stress, grief, sadness, and more recently, those affected by long COVID. We've been very fortunate in that we made a lot of very valuable connections in the last year. For example, we are now on the list of the social prescribing team in Hertfordshire, who started referring clients to our events. As a result of the connections we made with local community organizations and with the help of various funding sources, we've been able to deliver sessions across Stevenage and Baldock, Welwyn, and of course here in Letchworth. You kindly gave us a grant of just under £2,000 last year. With the funding, we provided several wellbeing sessions in collaboration with Create Community Hub in Letchworth. The funding paid for 4 group sessions. We actually delivered 6, 2 of them on voluntary basis, realizing how beneficial the attendees found them and how much they got out of them. Our therapists were also at Wilbury Community Cafe sessions, which we attended on a voluntary basis. The sessions were received really well. We had lots of positive comments and requests to continue in Letchworth. This is why we are applying for funding again. To see the positive changes in people who attended our wellbeing sessions, in how they feel, how they interact with other people, how their facial expressions change, and how their confidence builds. It's the biggest reward for us. We also made our Stevenage sessions available to Letchworth residents, but due to transport issues and also the fact that a number of residents suffer from anxiety, isolation issues, traveling to another town, no matter how close, is just not an option for them. So we would like to bring the therapies back to Letchworth to help Letchworth residents too. There are many people who we feel would benefit. With this application, we mentioned that the main beneficiaries would be the unpaid carers, as they provide a huge service to the community and are saving the NHS millions of pounds each year. But we always try to make the events open to all those who might benefit, and we always look for ways to bring in more people and make the sessions more accessible. We invite representatives of various community groups to come to experience the therapies so that they can spread the word. Some of you here have also been to our sessions, and I hope you found them beneficial. We would like to build on what we have already done in Letchworth and provide more events which could benefit more Letchworth residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As somebody that did attend one of those sessions, I've got to say they were very well run, and I did thoroughly enjoy having a large number of pins stuck in me. I can see a lot of people wishing they could do the same to me now. Do we have any questions from members regarding Nova Fit Wellness's requests? Okay. It is a large grant. My apologies, David.
Thank you. Good evening. Your total grant you're asking for is just under £4,000 altogether, 3,970 with other contributions. Your application says this will serve up to 60 people. Works out at £66.16 per head for everyone who attends one of your sessions. Bear in mind, an average yoga session price around here is about £12. Acupuncture session is about 18. Some of the other things around that are all around about the £12 to £20 mark. Why do your costs come out so expensive?
So the funding, the sessions, we said will benefit 60 people, but it doesn't mean that they will have one session. On the contrary, we've applied for 4 sessions, and ideally, most of people who come to our sessions, they come to a number of sessions. So they would benefit from a number of sessions, but the session should benefit around 60 people, hopefully more. I don't want to give huge number, but there are sessions, for example, at the Wilbury Cafe where we had maybe 20, 25 people or 30 people benefiting from during one event.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to come back?
Yeah, so thanks, Chair. I actually got the figures from the report, which says the funding will cover the cost of up to 4 wellbeing events for between 12 to 20 people in each, depending on the size of the venue available. That's even if somebody came to one session, that's still only a maximum of 80 sessions. The grant application actually says around 60. So that's still making it it still makes it 60, whether they come to one or more, it's still £66 per session per person, which I find quite expensive, bearing in mind that you don't have the costs of the venue hire, or because they're not being covered elsewhere. You don't have rates to pay or anything like that. The other sessions at other places do have professionals who are paid, so you don't have any additional. I just can't get the figures. I just find it's an awful lot of money for 60 sessions.
I do understand where you're coming from with it being a large amount of money. I personally think 3,400 is a lot of our budget, bearing in mind that we have other people coming to us after Christmas as well. However, I have seen personally how well Nova have worked with people and have worked using the community hub in Letchworth as their base. And there were, say, approximately 17 or 18 people in the session that I went to. And at the Wilbury Cafe, I'm not sure how many there were. Obviously, it's entirely up to everybody how they choose to vote. But 3,400 does to me feel like a big chunk of our budget. Danny, how much do we normally give as a suggested maximum that people apply for?
Am I on? I think I'm on. Yes. It is a large amount, quite right. So we have looked into this. Usually across obviously the Hitchin Committee as well, we can go usually up to about 2,000 is our maximum, knowing that the pot is huge and it's got to last us into the new year. So again, of course, it's up to the councillors how much they want to give, but 2,000 is quite this the maximum we usually do. But you can do 3,400.
Have any recommendations on how we go forward? I'm happy to hear from you again. Yes, that's problem, Zoita.
I just wanted to clarify that the application is for 4 sessions and 3 additional sessions, informal events, for example, in Wilbury Community Cafe. So it's actually 7 sessions, not 4 sessions. That's all I wanted to clarify.
Councillor Plater.
Sorry, Chair, can I just confirm that that's 60 Letchworth residents across those 7 sessions in total, or 60 being able to go to 7 sessions each?
No, not 67 sessions. It's up to, say, 20, up to 25 we can have at one session. So it's 60. It would be most probably more than 60, but, just it's 60 who can go to a number of sessions. Yeah.
So I can just follow up on that. How many sessions on average would the average participant then go to?
2-3 sessions of those 7. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I have any recommendations? Councillor Mantle.
Thank you. I'll start the ball rolling. I agree with you that the full amount is just simply too big a percentage of our total grant for the year. It basically is a third of our grant, and I don't think this is, while it's a worthy cause, I don't think that's proportionate considering the other demands which will be on that grant. So I was actually thinking rather that we make a grant, but a smaller grant, not for the full amount. The figure I had in mind was 1,500.
Councillor Levitt.
I was going to say something similar, but I was going to suggest 1,000 actually. So.
Councillor Plater.
And I'm just to muddy the waters more. I'm also thinking similar. I was going to come in and ask potentially that we gave half of the grant, which would be 1,700.
Councillor Thomas.
I just wanted to understand if we're going to be looking at a lower grant, what that would have implications in terms of the number of beneficiaries, because it is unclear in the current write-up about 60 residents. But if it's over 20 sessions and they're going to 3 each, the maths is just simply not adding up currently.
Can I just have one moment while I speak to my advisor on this? What I would like to suggest is that we defer this item until we have more exact figures, because I know that you're looking to go to the Baldock Area Committee as well. And I don't want to limit the amount that we can give and the amount that they can give because we're having items that we're not happy about on the figures. As you say, you did have very limited time to be prepared for today. We'd like to give you the opportunity to be further prepared for next time. Would you be happy with the deferment?
Sorry, so when is next time? What's
Because we're worried otherwise we're going to be making this suggestion and possibly pulling an amount out that we could offer, and that would only be able to help limited numbers of people and not help you do your full item.
Well, I think I understand. I think I understood that it's a big chunk of your budget. So if so that's probably not going to change by December. In which case, I think I would personally would prefer to if you could commit to an amount. I mean, if we could agree £2,000 and we could
no one is suggesting £2,000 at the moment. I think the maximum that's been suggested is 1,700, and we haven't had a seconder for that. Councillor Derbyshire.
Well, in the aim of moving this forward, as Councillor Mantle's proposal was halfway between, near enough, the two proposals we've heard, I'll second Councillor Mantle's proposal for 1,500.
Councillor Plater.
May I ask a question of the public speaker after it? Yeah. So obviously Councillor Derbyshire has just seconded a proposal for £1,500. What would that mean for you in terms of your application and delivering?
So so with this we would be able to deliver two well-being sessions and one informal event such as Wilbury Community Cafe event or similar. Thank you.
Well, I have had a proposer and a seconder, so we have that. We will need to put that to the vote. So the vote is for £1,500 to be awarded to Nova Wellness. We shall go to the vote.
Chair, that's been carried.
You are welcome to stay, or you're welcome to leave if you wish. Thank you. Our next item is the NCT North Herts. Hannah Lane is going to give us a verbal presentation.
Good evening. My name is Hannah and I'm a volunteer for the local NCT branch, the national charity that supports new parents on their journey through early parenthood. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting this evening and for offering the opportunity to apply for funding. The NCT is probably best known for providing popular, high-quality antenatal courses across the country. Their vision is of a world where no parent is isolated and all parents are supported to build a stronger society. The mission is to support parents through the first 1,000 days to have the best possible experience of pregnancy, birth, and early parenthood. To achieve those goals, the charity has a network of branches with around 5,000 volunteers who provide support in the form of groups and events in their local area. Our branch, which covers Hitchin, Letchworth, Stevenage and Baldock, offers 4 baby and toddler groups, a sling library, a nappy library, first aid courses, plus other events and opportunities throughout the year. All of these activities are volunteer-led. One of the groups we offer is our breastfeeding and postnatal support group, Letchworth Bumps and Babies at Letchworth Baby Cafe, which takes place every first and third week on a Tuesday in Letchworth at the get my words out, sorry everybody, at the Mrs. Howard Memorial Hall. That's really tricky to say. It runs on the first and the third week. They run all throughout the year, even during the school holidays. The group also runs, it's called Hitchin Bumps and Babies, on the 2nd and 4th week of the month. Each baby cafe is run by an NCT qualified, paid for breastfeeding counsellor and a local volunteer to support her. Attendance is completely free of charge and the groups are open to everyone who wishes to attend. These meetups provide vital support to new mums and dads who may be experiencing feeding issues with their babies, but also offers parents a social situation in which to meet others and to discuss any postnatal issues. Attending a group can often help a new parent to breastfeed for significantly longer than they might have without our support, or to feel less isolated during what can often be a lonely time. It's difficult to put an exact figure up. We try and keep accurate records, but since we began this group in Letchworth in March 2022, approximately 60 to 70 new parents or those with young children have attended the group, with an average of 5 to 8 parents per session. That can be different people each time, or generally people will attend 2 to 3 sessions. The sessions are not new. We've been running an infant feeding group for a number of years, including virtually during lockdown. Each session costs the branch money, as we must cover the cost of the breastfeeding counsellor and the room hire. Usually, we cover these costs ourselves via donations and fundraising. However, as we've been able to fundraise for the past 2 years, due to the pandemic and restrictions on fundraising activities, our reserves have become significantly depleted. We currently offer and organise first aid courses and nearly new sales, which help to provide income to the branch. These planned fundraising events will help increase our reserves, but securing funding for these infant feeding sessions for the next year will enable us to rebuild our own reserves to secure the future of the sessions once the funding has been spent. Many thanks.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from members? Councillor Levitt.
Thank you, Chair. You said your reserves are running low because of the COVID and everything. What do your reserves stand at the moment?
I'm not sure on the answer to that question without checking the information. I believe it's in the report that we provided when we had to fill in all the application form. I'm afraid I'm not the treasurer, so I don't have that information to hand, I'm afraid. I can find out for you, but I don't have it to hand, unfortunately.
Yeah, we don't have that in the report. I'll have to check the grant application. Usually we don't have that information in there. It might be the finance that was sent over, so we can check that for you and get the details over tomorrow or as soon as possible.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions at all? So you started taking, I have a question. You started taking figures in March of 2020. So that's when you started doing the 2 weekly meetings. Had you done any previous to that specifically around feeding, or is this a new one?
No, the infant feeding group, or breastfeeding support network for us has probably been running for, I'm trying to remember, 4 years now. Previous to it being in Letchworth and Hitchin, it was in Baldock at one of the children's centres. And so therefore it's always been running. Did you want me to say kind of any more than that? No.
That's fine, thank you. In that case, as I don't see any other questions coming up, the recommendation is of £920 to the NCT North Herts towards funding for their breastfeeding and postnatal support group. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Thomas. And can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Allen. Can we go to the vote, please?
Chair,
Excellent.
that's carried.
Wonderful. Congratulations. And you are welcome to stay, or you are welcome to leave should you wish. It's generally worth hanging around for. Now, the Letchworth Centre for Healthy Living is our next item. However, due to some last-minute COVID-related absences, we're going to be hearing from the Community Engagement Officer, Danny Pearson, who will read a written statement on the Letchworth Centre for Healthy Living.
Thank you very much. Do bear with me. There isn't a lot, but we'll go through it. The Letchworth Centre for Healthy Living provide wellbeing classes for all ages, a counselling service, a complementary therapy clinic, a service addressing children's, young people's and teachers' mental health and wellbeing, which delivers mindfulness programs to schools, a wellbeing program aimed at older people with mobility problems who are living with long-term conditions, and an NHS commissioned health and wellbeing coaching service for people with low-level anxiety and depression conditions. They are seeking funding for a railing for the disability ramp they have constructed to provide access to the classroom building, which houses their 3 classrooms and their cafe. They are also approaching the Hitchin Area Committee in October for £1,000. The handrail will be erected outside the Sadie building, which forms part of the Letchworth Centre for Healthy Living. They have also provided us a picture of that ramp that needs the railings, and it's in the report. This rail will benefit anyone who has difficulty mounting the steps. People with mobility problems, wheelchair users, mothers of pushchairs will benefit by being able to access the building and the wellbeing activities which run inside. The ramp as it stands, with no railings at its sides, presents a safety hazard at the for centre users. They will seek the remaining funding from their own users, from fundraising events, from local supermarkets, which have generously funded them in the past, and from several grant-making trusts that fund small capital projects such as this one. They have had to construct the ramp to conform with the requirements of the Equality Act 2010 in terms of catering for all, to ensure the centre is inclusive and its practice ultimately providing equality at all times for customers. The grant they originally received covered the cost of the construction of the ramp and the labour to erect a railing, but not the railing itself. The classrooms are in regular use by participants in their classes and the clients of the CAF. The project meets 2 of the Council's 3 priorities: people first and a brighter future together. Support for their work would clearly demonstrate that the Council looks after its population in providing for the needs of the disabled people, as well as ensuring the safety of others. Equally, in enabling people with all abilities to access the wellbeing programmes the centre provides, the Council would be helping to ensure that the people of North Herts are able to partake in health improving activities and thereby create a brighter future for themselves and their children. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Now, obviously, we know that you are going to struggle to answer questions because you are representing, but we'll let people give it a go, because I believe Councillor Levitt may wish to speak.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, I do. Railings are something I know quite a lot about. I used to run an engineering company, and one of the things we used to make a lot of was handrails for disabled access and other things. This projected cost of £5,500 for this is absolutely ridiculous for such a small handrail. I've just costed all the components out this evening just before I came here. All the components required to do this, including fixtures, fiction and everything, come to about £980. And that's done in 316 48mm stainless, and meets all the requirements with a centre rail as well. I'm not sure where those numbers are coming from for 5,500, but I don't believe that is a correct figure for a handrail of this type. And I can't support the application on those grounds, Chair.
Okay. Councillor Allen.
So just on the back of that, are you wondering if perhaps the clinic had been sold a dodgy railing? Perhaps we give them a chance to double check some figures or what they're being sold and things like that. Perhaps we could offer a deferment.
Okay. Councillor Levitt, I'll let you respond, but there is a suggestion of a deferment there.
Yeah, Chair, happy to accept that deferment. If they need any information, I'm quite willing to point them in the right direction. I'm no longer involved in that industry, but I'm quite willing to point them in the right direction and save them an awful lot of money.
Okay, in that case, we have a suggestion of deferment from Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Levitt. I will take that to the vote, please.
Chair, that motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Right, before we hear from our next grant applicant, myself and Councillor Allen have to announce a interest. I have a pecuniary declarable interest as I am Father Christmas in this show. As such, I will be handing over to a temporary chair. I'm going to be asking Councillor Tom Plater to stand in as chair. Councillor Allen and I will leave the meeting room for the duration of this. Please don't forget us and invite us back in afterwards.
That's okay. I've got down on my notes that we need a proposer and seconder for that. Is that correct, or?
Would I be able to have a proposer for Councillor Plater to be the stand-in chair? Councillor Thomas. And a seconder? Councillor Levitt. Thank you very much. Please can we go to the vote? I said I needed practice for full council tomorrow, didn't I?
Chair, that's carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll just wait until Councillors Allen have exited. Thank you very much, everybody. So this item will receive a verbal presentation from Imagica Theatre Company, CIC, and that will be given by Samantha Howe. So Samantha, over to you.
We need just one between us. So today I am Mrs. Claus and I have brought along for you my wonderful reindeer, Rosie the reindeer. Now, unfortunately, this year we're not singing to you as our voices are not allowing. We have another way to present our target to you. So, good evening, everyone, members of the Letchworth Committee and those watching via the video link. My name is Mrs. Claus and I've just popped over from the North Pole with my reindeer friend here, Rosie. Rosie is a reindeer because she has a bright red nose and related to Rudolph, her famous cousin.
Hello everyone, my name is Rosie Reindeer and it's lovely to meet you all today. Oh, I spoke to the stars and now I've come to talk to you.
Now we've come to ask for your help today. You see, Rosie has a very special wish that she needs your help with.
Oh yes, my wish is to share some cheer to everyone so we can have a happy end to a very tricky year.
Now Rosie has a wish that I think you can help us with today by sending some of your funding our way. So lots of families can visit us this year and we can share lots and lots of Christmas cheer. This year, we've just decided to try something new, to bring our adventure to each ward for all of you. In community spaces where people meet, to spend time together would be very, very neat. Now, we know many families have little money, you see, and visiting a show is unaffordable because of the fee. But these young people need help to find a way to have a fun adventure, even on a bad day. Now, with the cost of living crisis and all things up in the air, it's even more important that we show that we care, to inspire young people, to give them hope, to help them find a way to cope. Now, Rosie has asked if you could help her wish come true and has brought along a book that she's written to share with all of you.
Yes. I'm off to the forest.
Rosie dear, inside voices, please.
I'm off to the forest to find some cheer, to make sure we have a happy end to the year. I wish that everyone has fun and chocolate and cakes and sticky buns, toys and tinsel and lovely cuddles. Let no one be sad or in a muddle.
Now, I'm sure you'll all agree with me that Rosie's wish is one we'd all like to see, especially this Christmas with many pockets feeling bare, that this grant would show young people that we all really do care. So thank you for listening today. I do apologise, we had hoped to sing you a song, but it's very cold back at the North Pole and we're not quite up
We've
for
got
it
reindeer
yet.
flu.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from members on this item? No. Okay. In which case, I'm just going to ask one, and let's see if you can touch on the work that you're doing with other organisations. I know in the report you said that you've that the Scouts are going to be fronting your front of house with the tuck shop. And I wondered if you could tell us just a little bit more about that.
And it's kind of grown a bit since then. So we always invite the Scouts to be involved in it. Then we have a nice relationship where we help to work in their events and things, and they give us rehearsal space. So we've built quite a nice relationship with them. There are a group of Scouts that are going off to the Jamboree next year. So it's part of their fundraising that they are doing. The other thing we want to add in, which has sort of come to light more recently, is we're hoping at the events that we do run, that we can work with the community organisations that are helping to pass out food for people that need them at Christmas as well. So we can also be a hub where people can come pick up a goodie bag without having to make a big thing out of it. So again, we can kind of help with that cost of living crisis coming up to Christmas. That's something else we're looking at adding in this year as well.
Thank you very much. Councillor Derbyshire.
I was just going to recommend that we approve the full amount.
So the recommendation is £1,340 to Imagica Theatre Company, CIC, towards their Community Panto 2023 project. I've just had a proposal for that recommendation, Councillor Derbyshire. Can I get a seconder for that? Yep, Councillor Weeder, thank you very much. In which case, Louis, can we take this to a vote, please?
Chair, that's carried.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. In which case, thank you very much, Magica. You may go or you may stay, whichever you wish. And I'd like to call back Councillors Allen and Allen to the meeting. And in a second, they'll be behind you, Councillor Weeder. Thank you very much. I've just been told we now need to return a vote to return Councillor Allen back to the chair. So can I have a proposer to return Councillor Allen back to the chair? Councillor Thomas, thank you very much. Can I have a seconder for that proposal? Yep, Councillor Weeder, thank you very much. Louis, can we go to the vote, please?
That's carried. Thank you.
Right. Our next item would be normally a statement from the Letchworth Garden City bid manager. However, at the moment, Letchworth Garden City does not have a bid manager. They do have it out being advertised at the moment. So hopefully by December, we will have a statement from the Letchworth bid. One thing I will say as somebody that sits on the bid for the council is the beer festival is coming up. I believe in 2 weeks. I will double check the exact amount and I will send an invite to every councillor just so that you know when the beer festival is. It's always good fun from what I remember. Number 7 on the agenda is consultation on North Herts District local cycling and walking infrastructure plan. This is very interesting. I know a number of councillors have been out walking on the cycling routes. Edward Lee is going to present, but first, I believe Councillor Nolan.
Yep, this is declaration potential conflict of interest on my part. The reports, it's been written by the company I work for, WSP, although I've had no involvement myself in it.
Chair, just to confirm for the committee, this has been raised with the Service Director for Legal and Community, and she has confirmed that he can, Councillor Nolan can still remain and vote on this item.
Excellent. Thank you very much for letting us know, Councillor Nolan. Edward Lee to present, please.
Good evening, councillors. So, what is the local cycling and walking infrastructure plan? It is a very detailed set of ideas for improving the safety and convenience of walking and cycling in the towns of North Hertfordshire and between Hitchin and Stevenage. The plan will eventually incorporate all the rural areas as well, but the resources available only allowed us to look at the towns to begin with. But in reality, until you've got good cycling in the towns, then the rural links to the towns are secondary. So we need to get the towns right first. This is important because government funding is dependent on us having a detailed plan of where we want to build infrastructure. So by developing this plan, which was developed through workshops with stakeholder groups last year, and then developed further this year, and then is now about to go out to consultation. But once this plan is adopted, it will provide the basis for Hertfordshire County Council to make funding applications to Active Travel England, and that has a large £2 billion budget across the whole of England available to deliver this infrastructure. So this is not just something that's going to be parked. It's actually we're going to see some of this stuff being delivered over the next few years. The consultation starts on Monday the 26th, and will run for 6 weeks. It will be an online consultation. There's a huge amount of information in this consultation that wouldn't be practical to make available through exhibitions. So it will be up to members of the public to go into the website, choose the town they're interested in, choose the area of the town they're interested in, and to look at the interventions that are proposed there and then add comments on it. Or if you've got general comments on cycling and walking in the district, then they can also feed that back through the questionnaire. I will be attending a number of engagement events over during the consultation in each of the towns and in Ebworth to answer people's questions and to sort of help them understand how to engage with the consultation. So the recommendations before you are to note the report, including the appendices. So Appendix 1 is the full report, and then the appendices there's a whole lot of other appendices in the second appendix to this report, which includes the maps. And you'll see on the back of the door behind you is a map of the interventions proposed for Letchworth, and at the back of the room you'll see there are 3 maps there one covering all the walking routes proposed that have been audited in North Herts, and in the middle is another smaller copy of the Letchworth map. So if you want to have a look at those at the end of the meeting, ask me any questions, I'd be happy to answer. So the recommendations are to note the report, and you are all encouraged individually to respond to the consultation and to engage with your local residents, to make them aware of the consultation and to encourage them to respond to it. I really want to emphasize this is about walking and cycling. Often these things, it's the cycling that gets emphasized, but actually this is about making pavements wider and safer, and making it safe and convenient for people who are walking, using wheelchairs, using mobility scooters, as well as cycling. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Lee, it doesn't have it on here, but would you be willing to take any questions if the councillors had them?
Certainly, I'll be happy to take questions, yes.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions regarding this at all? Councillor Nolan.
Yeah, so just thinking about the say developments that may come about through the local plan, which obviously we're hoping will be adopted officially fairly soon. I note, for example, figure 1.5 in Appendix A points to some developments north of the Grange estate, obviously currently set out as one of the areas that will be potentially affected by development in the next 10 to 15 years. Do the interventions set out within here take into account what's expected to potentially come through the local plan?
Yes, they do. So these plans were developed with the emerging local plan, and they were also developed. So the growth and transport plan that was recently adopted, that also was developed with a view to the emerging local plan. Some of these schemes also emerge out of that. So they are all joined together, and they do all take into account the planned future growth. Yes.
That was a very sensible question. Does anybody else have any questions at all? No, in that case, the recommendations are that we note the contents of the report, and number 2, that we are encouraged to individually and through the area committee respond to North Hertfordshire District LCWIP consultation draft attached as Appendix 1, and encourage residents and local organisations to do so too. Did you wish to speak?
I'm happy to come back with something after the vote, because there's one more thing I wanted to add.
Oh, well, please add it now before the vote.
Okay, so one of the engagement events that we need to organise will be in Letchworth, because we don't have a town talk at the moment. And my aim is to have at least one public event in each town. So if any members have any suggestions for a suitable venue and a date that might possibly coincide with another event, please let me know. Thank you.
We are looking at restarting the town talks, and I am in discussions with community engagement officers, hopefully to have our town talks roving as well to different areas. I have Councillor Thomas.
I was just going to say that there is a local group which has developed a very extensive plan, which you may already be aware of, or proposal called the Community Plan for a Letchworth Cycle and Walking Network. So just to say, I think that's going to be very important. We know there's a lot of cyclists who are very, very engaged on this issue, and I'm sure they'll very much appreciate having that opportunity to meet with you and your team.
I'm assuming the community engagement event needs to be sometime within the consultation period.
It does. So ideally before the 31st of October.
I will speak to you afterwards about a possible event before the 31st of October that I can think of that we could possibly invite you to. The Wilbury Community Cafe might be a very good option, unless we can find any other groups that would be interested in hosting you as well. But that's an option, seeing as I know that 3 councillors are heavily involved with it who are here today. So that's something we can speak to you about later on. In that case, you have heard the recommendations. May we please go to the vote? May I have a proposer for the vote? Councillor Plater. Happy to propose. A seconder, please. Councillor Allen. In that case, please may we go to the vote?
That's carried. Thanks, Chair.
Right, let's see how I can mess this one up. Grants and Communities update. Danny Pearce.
Thank you. You can't miss this one off. Great. So I've worked with you some already. I've been the Hitchin officer for over a year now, and I've been given Letchworth a few months ago. So if I haven't seen you, hello. So I'm going to do the financial implications first, and then I'll crack on with the good stuff, because I've done some rough sums, because I know some of the figures have changed and we've deferred one. So I'm just going to read this out from what I got here. So the 2022-23 base budget was £11,000, with 956 carried forward from the 2021-22 budget. £2,050 was granted at the last committee meeting. This leaves a budget available of £9,906. The grant applications for this meeting now total, ignore the report, 3,760. And if the members agree the grants outlined in this report, this will leave a balance of £6,146. Thank you. So, yeah, as I said, as a community engagement team, we've been amazingly busy, and I've really enjoyed working Letchworth patch, should we say. So we have resurrected a couple of groups. As some of you have already been to, we do network groups, and those have moved basically online, and that was due to COVID. And it's worked really well, because we're able to do these networks in the morning when most people are at work, so they can just designate an hour of their time, especially if they're school or charity groups, to come join us. So with the Letchworth hat on, we have the newly resurrected Jackman's network group and the Grange network group. We actually had our 3rd Jackman's network group this morning. I thought there was only going to be 3 or 4 people. There was loads. We had people from the Letchworth Heritage Foundation, Garden City Academy, the Walgrove School, King's Community Church, Settle, Service for Young People, and many more. So I will be writing those notes up tomorrow morning. If you're interested in minutes, please do let me know. I can send them your way. I know some councillors are already on that emailing list. The same goes for the Grange network group. We have a lot of parties there that join in and share information. And we don't just wait between 5 and 6 weeks. They share the information all the time during the week as well. So they are very handy groups to be part of if you'd like to join. We also have our usual network groups, the Youth Action Network Group, the Food Provision group, which you can imagine we're all looking at the cost of living crisis, and the fuel crisis and the food crisis are all in amongst at the moment. So we've very much got hats on there. We're looking at towards heat hubs. Where are they in North hubs? Can they be funded, etc., etc. Food groups, again, they're all talking to each other. So hopefully we'll come up with a plan of action and be able to share that. And more importantly, recently we had an Arts and Culture Network group, which was really well attended. It was very Letchworth centric. Again, if you're into that, please do come along. The notes and minutes will be available soon. I actually invited Stuart Sapsford from the Letchworth Heritage Foundation to give a presentation on their new-ish culture strategy. It's now 4 months old, but it's 4 months into a 3-year plan. Very interesting. As I said, it was very Letchworth centric for that. So I will try and lean it a bit more to Hitchin for next time. Sorry. But we're also, from that, we're part of an arts cooperative that are working with councils such as, I think, Sunderland, Stevenage Borough Council and a few others. We're going to put a video together for that, which I think is going to be over Christmas. So please do look out for that. Again, it's working with partnerships from councils across the UK. We've also been asked to be part of a webinar for North Heart CVS, which I know some of you work with. They're putting together a short online presentation to highlight local support that is available for Ukrainian refugees. And that should be available on the 27th of September, which is next week. So we'll be hosting a short slot in that. We continue to share and disseminate information on social media and to mailing lists and network groups as well. Keep in touch with community, voluntary and non-statutory agencies. Something that also crosses over between Hitchin and Letchworth. I'm part of the joint action group, which some of you know involves many of the local authorities and police. A recent issue that came up, I'm sure you're all aware of the travellers that came the other week. Again, that was swiftly dealt with, as best as possible. Again, that was just because all the agencies talked to each other, so that was good, and we shared information about that. We're also gathering speakers for the next cabinet panel for community engagement and cooperative development, and this is going to be on the cost of living crisis. There's again a hot topic there. And finally, I know some of you have been badgered by one of our officers about the Youth Democracy Week. We'd love to see you there, love to see if you take part in it. That is coming up in October/November. We're doing it before and after the half term. So if you can be part of it, that would be amazing. And Councillor Danny Allen has already touched on Town Talk that we are looking into. Funding will be needed if we take it out into the community. But I think the Town Talks are a good thing, and moving forward would be great. We just need to get there. So whether we get it for December or if there's something for the new year, obviously we'll ask the councillors for their opinion as well. And I think that will be all for now, if that's okay.
I don't think there are any questions coming up. Nope. In that case, the recommendation is the committee be recommended to endorse the actions taken by the community engagement team to promote greater community capacity and well-being for Letchworth. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Mantle. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Plater. Can we go to the vote, please?
Thanks, Chair. That's carried.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Daniel. Number 9, ward matters and outside organisations. Do members have any updates for this committee? Councillor Amy Allen.
Don't know about updates, but can I plug the cafe? So as always, every month the Wilbury Community Cafe is the second Saturday of the month. We start at 10 in the morning and we finish at 12:30. It's free entry, everybody is welcome. And also we always have space for any organisations or other charities or anyone with a startup business who would like to be able to make use of a table or space that a table would take up to promote or talk about, or anything regarding, Town Talk, might want to use that space in some fashion, anything like that. We are more than happy to accommodate. So Saturday, 8th of October, we'll be doing pumpkins, so it's gonna be so much fun. Very slimy. Again, everybody welcome. Hope to see you there.
Councillor Levitt.
Just a quickie update on the beer festival you're talking about. The Beer, Food and Music Festival is on Saturday the 24th and Sunday the 25th of September, which I make this weekend, coming 11 till 5 p.m.
I'm looking forward to that. Little plug from me now. The Grange Community Fun Day event is on Sunday, the 2nd of October, from 1:30 until 5:30 at the Grange Community Centre. Please do come along if you can. Other than that, I did have a very successful Grange Community Action Day with Settle, the police, the fire brigade. Who else was there? Citizens Advice were there as well, where we did various bits and pieces around the Grange. If you get the opportunity to do these action days in your areas, do get involved, do go along. They are really, really good bits where you can pick up a lot of casework and pick up a lot of litter. If there are no other notes or reports, I close this meeting at 8:30. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending.